Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Saturday the 14th of March 2026, the year of Greenwix and BSV Terranode in the mix. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai or your post put on chain. Here we go, let's see what we've got today. So we're going to go through some articles here. Even Boris Johnson, 13th of March, weighed in on Bitcoin. I mean, you've got to be getting desperate when you start bringing Boris Johnson in on this. Like something is afoot. Catherine Austin Fitz saying that there are 170 underground bases with transportation networks and have advanced technology, and says that $21 trillion was quietly stolen to build the secret underground civilization. Like, we know there's loads of shit going on. Yeah, and then we've got to talk about this latest one. Literally, so it looks like sponsored by Coinbase. They've come up with a movie here titled Finding Satoshi. And this was after HBO's really pathetic documentary called Money Electric. And then also Channel 4 did a really pathetic one after that as well. I've responded to it in one of my posts, which we'll go through, because they literally edited Craig Wright's picture off of the whiteboard that they were showing it on. There we go, that's the one. I think it was Seeking Satoshi. So we'll have a look through those. Then we'll go through the after actually talking about that. We'll do a little bit of do a bit of some of my own stuff here with Craig Wright, the rise and rise of Craig Wright. I mean, look, I've got all the evidence going back to 2005. The white paper wasn't released until 2008. So who on earth would be talking about Bitcoin in 2005 if they weren't Satoshi? That's right, it was Craig Wright of all people. Producing papers under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. So we'll have a look at that. Then we'll have a look at the figures to see what is up with what is going down. Let something happen there. Oof. Even against the big dog, Greg Coin. We've got some 365 days of Bitcoin history. Interesting one today, which is why we'll touch on this article. Yes, indeed. And then we'll finish with the Kelly Speller countdown. Right, let's get into it.
Craig says he's Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong and transactions flying free. He's acclaiming his legacy, you'll surely see.
All right, here we go. Look at this. Honestly, I just put Bojo Clown here. So Boris Johnson has actually posted it. He said, "I've long suspected Bitcoin is a giant Ponzi scheme, and now I'm hearing tales of woe that make me fear I'm right." So it looks to me like literally the deep state technical team, as in Blockstream, are trying to purposely crash the price anyway, so that they're not on the hook for it actually crashing. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to bring out like all these big dogs, as it were, to try and fearmonger on it, and then say, "Oh, well, it wasn't to do with us. It was to do with all these other people spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt." FUD, as they call it. But this is pathetic. Them actually bringing Boris Johnson out to say something. See if we can have a quick look at this Daily Mail article. Look at that. Oh, it makes me fear that I'm right. Yes, it does. It really makes me fear that I'm right for everybody. It might be a giant Ponzi scheme that's going down. Oh, really? They know that something's coming. And let's have a look at this. So King Arthur fan said here, Catherine Austin Fitz, a former US government official who managed $40 billion in federal funds, says $21 trillion was quietly stolen to build a secret underground civilization. She claims there are 170 underground bases with transportation networks and advanced technology we've never heard of. An entire civilization was built with American taxpayer dollars, all while the public was told the budget was too high for schools and healthcare. Yeah, absolutely. It's a complete scandal. Can you imagine? 21 trillion. 21 trillion. And if you look at the M1 money stock, yeah, they printed, $16 trillion in a couple of months. You know, I mean, it's so blatantly obvious, but people just don't believe what's going on. It's so obvious that it's in your face. That's how they're getting away with it, because people just can't believe how big the fraud is. They wouldn't do that. I'm afraid they would. Check this out. So as of today, there are only 1 million Bitcoin remaining within its network, waiting to be mined. However, it will take 114 years to extract this last 1 million coins. And there's only 300,000 BSV Bitcoin available for sale across the markets worldwide, representing $4.5 million. Massive supply squeeze due soon. Yeah, look at this. Look at that. Total supply. That's circulating supply. Just 20 million. Max supply 21. Can you believe it? 20 million. 20 million of the 21 million have already been extracted. And this is March 2026. Like, amazing. Amazing. So yeah, let's get on to this next one there. For Truth Machine. It said here, you've heard of Killing Satoshi, the Bitcoin biopic, reportedly about Craig Wright and Calvin Ayre. Now there is conveniently another movie coming out at the same time about who Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, is, called Finding Satoshi. And they've put a trailer there. And Truth Machine has said here, look, funded by Coinbase, as in like Coinbase. That's absolutely hilarious. So I think they should actually probably allow us to play the trailer here. So let's have a look. Here we go.
This is the greatest financial mystery of the 21st century.
Bitcoin is one of the most groundbreaking financial innovations in decades.
The inventor, Satoshi Nakamoto, completely disappears.
I liken Satoshi to Prometheus. It's like giving the world fire.
Satoshi is one of the wealthiest people in the world.
He owns 1.1 million Bitcoin, but none of them have ever been moved.
Satoshi is worth billions of dollars. I'm Bill Cohen. I'm a best-selling author. I've always been interested in film and documentaries.
I'm Kyler Maroney. I've investigated murder, bank fraud, embezzlement. The mindset has to be, how do I find new ways to find that information? It's not human nature to not touch
a massive fortune.
Is there anyone else who worked with you?
I'd rather not go into that.
I'm not going on camera to talk about that.
You don't want to answer who?
Doesn't matter.
I don't play the speculation game of who's Nakamoto.
I don't want to say too much here. I'm not, I think I'm conveying the impression that I know more than I do.
You are.
And I don't want to do that. All I want to say is...
Do you know more than you're letting on?
If I did, I wouldn't tell you.
Why?
They had to be an expert in economics, an expert in currencies, an expert in coding.
We've got 2 potential windows into
our main suspects.
We need to dive into the one place Satoshi was most present, his online behavior.
We see a clear pattern when there's essentially no activity from Satoshi.
This is a guy who trusts numbers and not people.
The code,
timestamps,
the typing, it all matched.
He was talking to Satoshi before Bitcoin was released.
Usually I'm looking for people who've done something wrong, but in this case, I was looking for somebody who did something revolutionary. For a few years, you declined to speak with me. What changed your mind?
There's this concept called K-anonymity. You can sum it up as the bigger the crowd, the easier it is to hide it.
But there's a small risk. In The Wizard of Oz, when they saw behind the curtain, they began to think, that looks very suspicious.
Bill, I know who Satoshi is.
Well, I'm going to watch it anyway because I'm intrigued, but absolute bullshit. They are literally, they're going to cover it up. Literally, they're going to cover it up so badly. They're never going to release it. And talking about never releasing it, so there was another one that HBO did called Money Electric, and this is where they pointed the finger at Peter Todd. Honestly, it was so pathetic. Peter Todd was literally like an acne-faced teenager when Bitcoin was created. It was an absolute piss take. But let's have a look at this one.
Satoshi Nakamoto, The inventor of Bitcoin could be one of the richest people on Earth. But many years ago, Satoshi had disappeared, and with Bitcoin being woven into the fabric of the financial system, solidifying its role as digital gold, perhaps the question of Satoshi's identity was more pressing than ever. We should start with just an interview with you in Malta, if that sounds good to you.
Okay.
Who would have been working around the clock to introduce something like Bitcoin?
A lot of technical people will say, I could have done that. It's actually much harder than it looks.
Anyone competent enough to go do Bitcoin probably would be competent enough to not leave any traces.
Satoshi's got nothing to pick up by his stash.
Yeah, just 1 million Bitcoin. A currency derived from electricity might pose a real threat to the dollar.
3, 2, 1.
If it gained in popularity.
I'm the crazy prince that is talking about Bitcoin.
What we're trying to do is get parallel systems in place. Dollars, Bitcoin, pesos, Bitcoin, yen, Bitcoin.
If it looks like something could replace the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, three-letter agencies will do whatever they can to disrupt projects like Bitcoin.
I would rather buy shit that's worth something than buying crypto.
Bitcoin is about undermining the Federal Reserve, disintermediating the nation state.
It's not like Satoshi had some master plan.
Yeah, it's like you're in some sort of cult. You guys are having fun now.
Right? Satoshi left a lot of digital history.
When he left, he distributed control amongst different people in the community.
Were you the first person that Satoshi reached out to?
I believe so, yeah.
Best evidence of him being Satoshi.
Of not being Satoshi.
Being Satoshi.
What indication did you have that he was collaborating with the government?
If you dig deep enough, the inconsistencies will emerge.
Seems like he's responding.
I've been told Satoshi was a group of people.
I have to be careful of talking about that topic.
He checks a lot of boxes.
I will admit, you're pretty creative. You come up with some crazy theories.
Here's what I think happened.
It's Bitcoin. Don't trust, verify.
Yeah, so that one has already come out, and they were both utter hogwash. And this one I can't play because it was on channel 4, so I've just got this like little video here that I'm not going to play the volume of. But attached to that, I've got 2 images that were in that. And this is one of them, where the guy is literally looking at the whiteboard here, and he's just like, oh, right, so we've got Hal Finney, and Ralph Merkel, and Adam Back, and Wade Dye, and like someone else like that. And in the bottom right-hand corner of this whiteboard, you can see there is no Satoshi there. There's nothing there. But on this next picture, which is meant to be part of the same scene, they put him in, look. You can see it. It even says Craig Wright, and they've crossed him out. The guy is wearing the same t-shirt, the same shirt over the top of it, and they've left Craig Wright in there. But you can see he's got a cross on it. They've crossed him out, and they never mention him. And so literally, I've left the link to it. I mean, again, it's also on YouTube, but you have to be in the UK to watch it. So you can see for yourself, and the moment he mentions Adam Back, right, and then there's a pause in the editing, and it's like he mentioned Craig Wright, and they've like deleted him out. So that's what's going to happen. It's literally just going to be another propaganda piece, another absolute load of tosh, an utter load of shite, is what it is. You know, shocking, not shocked really. What would you expect? Not too much more from that, to be honest with you. But I think I could actually probably produce my own finding Satoshi, because all you need to do is look back at history and look at this. So this was in 2005 on the 29th of July. The first known Satoshi Nakamoto sighting at What the Hack Festival by Joseph Van Perling. And for those who don't know who Joseph Van Perling was, he was the one that sat on the board in the Bitcoin investor conference in Las Vegas, Nevada in 2015, giving Nick Szabo a lesson on the fact that you can actually create smart contracts, and that Bitcoin is Turing complete is the main thing. But check this out. Even Bitcoin Magazine wrote there. They said, yet 4 notable men in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space still believe Wright, as in Craig Wright, is Satoshi Nakamoto, or leader of a team called Satoshi Nakamoto. That also included the now deceased David Kleiman. Bitcoin's former lead developer Gavin Andresen and former Bitcoin Foundation director John Matonis met Wright over the past weeks and, among other things, believed to have seen cryptographic proof. Digital currency veteran and R3 architect Ian Grigg has been publicly backing Wright's claim too. The fourth source maintaining that Wright is the man behind the alias Satoshi Nakamoto is New Liberty dollar issuer Joseph Van Perling. Van Perling says he met Wright at a conference in Amsterdam 3 years before publication of the Bitcoin white paper, and that Wright introduced himself as Satoshi Nakamoto at the time. Whoa, and they said this is not a new story. Van Perling has been saying he met Satoshi for years. Yeah, absolutely. So that's when it was. And then September 2005, the GIAC certifications, Craig Wright has got that. And I think there was one of them where he said that there's only 4 people in the world that have got his qualification. In June 2006, Dr. Craig Wright received his first certification of being an information systems security professional. There we go. So more qualifications there. But on the 15th of September 2007, prior to the Bitcoin white paper being released, Craig Wright published a white paper under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto titled An In-Depth Analysis of Proof of Work Calculations in Hashcoin White Paper, Exploring Alternative Strategies. Within the paper, the technology, now called blockchain, is first described as time chain. That's what he was initially going to call it, time chain. And this is a picture of the paper. Satoshi Nakamoto describing blockchain. Look, time chain. Amazing, amazing. On the 30th of October 2007, so this was 1 year and a day before the publication of the white paper, Craig Wright published a paper from Northumbria University titled Payment Providers and Intermediaries as defined in the law of the internet. The paper demonstrates comprehensive knowledge regarding the law surrounding electronic payments. So somebody must have known what they were doing. And the pseudonymous author of the Bitcoin white paper, Satoshi Nakamoto, would later plagiarize Craig Wright's work from this paper in Northumbria University in the publication of the white paper itself, using the exact sentence structure. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a. And that sentence structure is in the white paper itself. Absolutely. So he copied him word for word. And on the 14th of January 2008, Craig Wright publishes a paper to the SANS Institute for a GIAC certification titled Electronic Contracting in an Insecure World. The paper contains information on what is now known in relation to blockchain technology as smart contracts. So he was developing smart contracts before the white paper was even published. All of this stuff he knew before the Bitcoin white paper was released. Like, seriously. And then on the 24th of January 2008, Craig Wright creates the Bitcoin white paper document, and later on August 21st publishes it to the Social Science Research Network for peer review. So, and it says here, look at this, when you document properties. Title, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Author, Craig Stephen Wright. Created 24th of January 2008, and it was published on the 21st of August 2008 of that year, before the official release of the white paper. The exact replica of it went to the Social Science Research Network, published by Craig Wright, called Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, for peer review. Who else would do that? And if you look on the document properties now, Craig Stephen Wright has now actually been changed to Satoshi Nakamoto. But you can't publish a paper on the Social Science Research Network under a pseudonym, in the same way that you can't claim copyright under a pseudonym or a trademark. It's ridiculous. They're getting worried. And on the 12th of March 2008, Craig Wright wrote an email to David Kleiman asking for help to edit a paper on a form of electronic money. He said a Bitcoin, Bitcash. So he literally wasn't, he wasn't sure about what the name was going to be. He's like, should I change it? Should it be Bitcash? Should it be Bitcoin? Luckily, he settled on Bitcoin. Loving that. And on the 22nd of June 2008, again prior to the official release of the Bitcoin white paper, Craig Wright had academic works accepted by GIAC certification titled Detecting Hidden Statistical Methods for Classifying the Use of Hidden-Based Stenography in Executable Files. And now we know that stenography was in the white paper. And on the August 9th, 2008, again prior to the release of the white paper, the first PGP key for email Satoshi at vistomail.com was created. This Vistomail account and PGP key is what Satoshi used when emailing Adam Back and Wei Dai on the 21st to the 22nd of August 2008. So he wrote to them using that email address, asking them that he could quote them for citation in the white paper. But all this stuff, honestly, there's so much, and I've got it all here. And look at this, GIAC security expert malware. There's only 4 people in the world that have got it, and 2 of them have got the same name, 2 last name. Look, Paul Wright, James Shawmaker, Craig Wright, and Andrew Martin. And I think Craig would say that was one of the hardest papers he's ever done. Oh, there we go. He said one of the hardest certifications ever devised was his description of that. But yeah, got it all. Look at this. This is he first mentioned Bitcoin. I think this was the 10th of January. Yeah, 10th of January 2009. So this was literally, and this was the day before Hal Finney posted his post saying running Bitcoin. Craig Wright was the very first one to ever mention Bitcoin on social media via this Facebook post on January the 10th, 2009. He said, well, e-gold is down the toilet. Good idea, but again, centralized authority. The beta of Bitcoin is live tomorrow. This is decentralized. We try until it works. So yeah, so the the Genesis block was created on the 3rd of January 2009. That was the Genesis block, but then he sent the code to be downloaded to Hal Finney, and he downloaded it. But Craig posted this out on social media before Hal Finney. He was the first one, and I got all of this from Gizmodo and Wired magazines. Look at that, Hal Finney posted running Bitcoin, but actually I think UTC it was 7:33 p.m. 10th of January. Is there a time on Craig's one? But Craig posted this when he was in Australia, so he was many hours in front of Hal when Hal posted that at 7:33 p.m. 10th of January. That's UTC. No, that would have been where Hal was. UTC would have been, the 11th of January 2009 at 3:33 a.m. is what it would have been. Yeah, so 3:33 UTC, but it was 7:33 p.m. PDT. I think it's Pacific Daylight Time, I think. But yeah, there we go. So I think I could make a much better. What I'm saying is, I reckon I could probably make a much better documentary than those shysters that produced their propaganda pieces. Let's have a look at the figures then, just quickly, because that's 24 minutes already. I didn't think the show was going to be that long. Grey coin $70,000, Bcrush 464, Fisher Price Cash UK's Bitcoin $15, Hashrate 0.02, Network Nodes 0.17, transactions. What's this? Bcrash and eCash making an appearance. What an absolute piss take. Blocks transactions on Bitcoin 37. Block size though 61. Look, these blocks coming through. 19,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Gradecoin. Mining Bitcoin at a 6% comparable loss to Gradecoin. politics in the pie charts. This is where it is. Let's have a look. Global hash rate 7 days, 24 hours. Gridcoin hash rate. Foundry USA pull 34. Other miners 6.25. B crash. Other miners 18%. Fisher price cash. Not bothered about that. Bitcoin, we'll have to have a look at what's on chain. Here we go. 24 hours. Oh, others 15.5. Coup 14.8. QD Link 14.1. Tau 14.1. Mining Dutch 13.5, Mole Pool 10.8, SA100 8.1, Gorilla Pool 6.08, Tau Terranode 2.03, Gorilla Node 0.68. Let's have a look at the stats on the dashboard then. So we've got 500,000 transactions over the last 24 hours. We can cross-reference that, 500,000. So we're now in third place, just behind XRP and Ethereum. Look at that. Literally third place in the utility charts, and yet we're like right down in the 70s in terms of market cap ranking. Absolutely crazy. The tether weather, so not too much to report on the last week. A little bit more on the month. Yeah, nothing too much exciting going on there, but that's why Gridcoin ain't moving. But I tell you what is moving, that is genuine Bitcoin. Look at that, it shot up to like $16.62. Just earlier today, and then came back down again pretty quickly, but it's popped up there a little bit, you know. And again, you know, the cabal are going to be all hands on deck trying to keep the price low, because it looks to me like it's breaking out. Look, it even broke out against Gridcoin. Look at that. Let's have a look at this against the US dollar. The graph almost looks the same. Overall market cap $2.3 trillion. Gridcoin $70,000. 24-hour trade volume just 1.37%. There's nothing there. Literally nothing there. Keep an eye on the graphs on the right hand side. Yeah, a lot of them looking very similar. Where is Bitcoin? Here we go. $15.50. Yeah, oh, there we go. And there's that price pump. Look at that. Wow. 24-hour high $16.58. Just popped up this morning. But look, it's still gone up a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Loving that. That's all we need. The market will soon pay attention to that. Yeah, they will. So on the 14th of March 2014, Newsweek publishes the Face Behind Bitcoin article. One of the most famous images of Satoshi Nakamoto in Bitcoin. Brilliant. Love that one. On the 14th of March 2014, also on the same day, Warren Buffett tells CNBC why he thinks Bitcoins don't have any intrinsic value and investors should stay away. I think later Charlie Munger might have described it as a rat poison squared or something like that. But anyway. On the 14th of March 2024, after closing statements had been concluded, Sir Edward James Mellor passed judgment in the COPA case and said, quote here, "I've reached the conclusion that the evidence is overwhelming. Dr. Wright is not the author of the Bitcoin white paper. Dr. Craig Wright is not the person who adopted or operated under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto. Dr. Craig Wright is not the person who created the Bitcoin system, and Dr. Wright is not the author of the Bitcoin software." Like, what an absolute piss take. And this was after declaring here that he said Justice Mellor agreed with Dr. Wright on 3 key points. First, Justice Mellor agreed that Dr. Wright expended substantial skill and judgment in creating the Bitcoin file format, such that the originality / intellectual creativity required was met. Further, the Justice agreed that Dr. Wright had devised and created the Bitcoin file format in the course of writing the code for the Bitcoin system. Like, what an absolute joke. Let's see, and that was 23rd of August 2023. So he said that in 2023 and then said this in 2024. What an absolute hypocrite. Honestly, the corruption was just like beyond the pale. An absolute piss take. And again, his ruling was reported around the world in the Law Gazette and in the Guardian. And Jameson Lopp on the 14th of March 2024 said, if you meet Satoshi on the road, kill him. Yeah, nice one. Cheers, mate. Sounds nice. And on that day, March 14, 2024, the whole is quoted, the whole industry also needs Bitcoin to stay high as the halving looms. The Bitcoin miners are also banking on the price of this asset continuing to soar. What an absolute piss take. Look, they're banking on it continuing to soar. Well, it can't soar because it doesn't do anything, so therefore it's got no use case. What an absolute piss take. But stupid is as stupid does, as they say. Anyway. There we go. That is a 30-minute show. Hope you enjoyed it. We're now day 177 of the Kellan Schweller Countdown on the 14th of March, 2026. When's it going to finish? You're going to have to stay tuned to find out. So until then, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.